Hello everybody and welcome back. It was a while. Usual again with a new tutorial about the Looperlative LP2, and this time I'm super happy because I would like to talk about the new updates we got for the LP2. It's the firmware 2.62. Which came out yesterday. Super delighted to have Bob releasing this now. It's kind of like a late Christmas present for me, and it's cool because now it's pushing the LP2 a step further in controllability and user interface personalization, which is super cool, and it's something I was badly awaiting since the very beginning. I got this looper because there was the rumor out, but I was still waiting for the thing to happen, and now it has happened. Okay, first of all, you will notice on the LP2 now on the FX writings I have this piece of papers with the new function, because now I can program as I want, the way I want the effect button, the effect related to effect 1 and effect 2, which is super cool because now I can really customize and personalize the LP2 to fit my needs. This means, for example, you were listening this tiny intro at the beginning. I was doing everything on the LP2 standalone without the MIDI controller on the side. So it's super cool, super handy, and it's great because finally I was using from the beginning on the Bill Walker set, but now I can program a Joel Gilardini set with my function, with the stuff I really need, and so now I was able to have that as I was already thinking since a while to have it. Okay, we'll come to the FX programming in detail later in this video. Okay, first, there were not only this update with the effect programming stuff, but also we have few new thingies. On the MIDI side, you have two new commands, which for me were missing, and they were available in the LP1. Now you have those also for the LP2, and if you are using MIDI with the LP2, it's don't say it's basic, but for me are very important commands, and these two commands are the all tracks and except track. Especially the first one, I already used that in the programming for the MC3. All tracks, what allows me to do, for example, is with the push of one button, select all the tracks and then apply functions on that. For example, I programmed all reverse tracks, so with one push of a button I can put all the tracks in reverse, or also my so-called master delete or delete all, which is a function I use to reset totally all the loops inside the LP2. And for example, before I had to program that like track 1 delete, track 2 delete, track 3 delete, and of course I also like to reset all the feedbacks and etc levels, so I had to do that for each track separately, and now I can just have all tracks, delete, erase track, set back the feedback to 100%. It does everything to every track in one click, and it's really more neat and fancy to program stuff this way. And that's the except track. It's something I was using back then in the LP1. Sorry, it's a command which maybe it makes more sense on the LP2 and the LP1, where you have 8 tracks, but it's nice now. It's nice to have also in the LP2. What this allows you to do, you select a track, you say accept, and then any other function you're applying, it will be applied to all the other tracks. Example, I select track 2, I say accept, and then apply a reverse. It means track 2 stays still in forward, and all the other tracks are put in reverse for that stuff. Also, there are few new MIDI Sysex available. I will show you quickly. First of all, it's so I have the pedal connected with a MIDI to USB cable to my laptop, and first it's something with some users. I was fine with that, but some user complained the LED to be very too bright. And so now we have 3 MIDI Sysex to set the brightness of the LEDs. So now I'm in the media setting. This would be the bright setting, which was the originally, and then you have a low setting, and then there's the medium, which for me, I'm fine with the medium, so it's okay. And the other Sysex are messages to tell the LP2 if he has to ignore or acknowledge an incoming or an outgoing MIDI clocks message. But this is stuff I set that always to on, so it's okay. Good. And now we go to the big news, or now we go back to the screen of my computer, and now here you can see on the right side it's the Looperlative MIDI controller. Okay, now here you see some information. First of all, tracks, the 4 tracks, if there is something recorded, the position in the loop, the panning, which you can control also via this app, track volume, feedback level, and then here I have all this part where I can set and select the slots and then the effects I wanna apply to have in that slot for effect 1 or effect 2. Here I have a table on the side. You can see column A, this would be the traditional set, so it's the stuff which is written on the enclosure of the LP2, and then up to now I was using the Bill Walker set, and here you can see effect 1 and effect 2, and forget about column D because that was a first idea. And now in column C you have the my set of effects, which I can use on the LP2 and set to the effects. First of all, you will see a bit of green and yellow, because actually what I did was considering first taking the Bill Walker set, which it's the one I was using up to now, and based on that I decided to fine-tune that with the stuff I need and I find useful for myself. So on as you can see, effect 1, actually I kept more or less everything as it was. I just switched the retrigger with a retrigger random and the fast scramble with a replay stop all function, so that with one click I can stop all my loops, which is this. Effect 2, here's where I started to play a lot. Okay, the only 2 things I've kept one-to-one are the undo and the reverse. Also note that I have the reverse and the half speed at the same in the same position as they would be stock on the traditional set. I like it that way, and I find it's a good placement, so I kept it like that. In the effect 2, I decided to change a few things and really have functions which for me are a must-have, so that now I eventually could also take the LP2 standalone and have that available as well. So first of all, I decided to have stretch and shrink. Then if you have the reverse, then I have a set clock source, which here I relabel it as a master clock, so that in case I would do some rhythmical stuff, for example on loop 2, I can set loop 2 to be the master, so that I can go back to loop 1 and create a loop, synchronize it to that one, so I can just move the master, the clock around needed. Then after that I have the slow scramble. I love to use scramble, and especially I don't know, for me the slow scramble is the most musical and useful of these functions. After the scramble I have the track erase, so that and I actually use that to in case I would like to have a loop synchronized to the other, I need the looper to be synchronized to be a void loop. So with the track erase I just can have a blank loop, and so that I can generate a synchronized one. That's the reason I have that. And then on the last position I have a unquantized replace, so that I can just replace stuff as I want to without the quantization. I kept the 113 quantized replace on the FL1. I like that it's I don't know, it has a nice feel. It's not a normal note like would be a 16th or an 8th. It's something funnily in between, so I kept that. And actually you see on the side this column D, this was the first idea I had in mind to program my effects. Here you see this octave down, which would be the shrink combined in my effect to have the loop with the same velocity but same speed, but one of the lower, so by combining shrink and the half speed. I wanted to do that, but then I find out that now we go to the interface here, actually you have, these are the functions you can select per slot in the effect, so you are connected to that. It's not that you can kind of like, I was expecting it to be maybe more advanced, so you would have been able to program MIDI notes or a combination of MIDI notes per slot, but actually I find it cool that now you have the possibility to customize the effects, and actually you have every basic function available. And so when I started to put these effects together, and I also tried to, what I did was also placing the stuff effect 2 and effect 1 one after the other, so that I could see how they are placed in the slots, so that, for example, and this is for me also to help me to remember and have also a system and a logic inside it. So for example, you see I select track and master clock are on the same level. Also something I have on the same level is the half speed and the shrink, so that I can have effect 1 half speed and effect 2 the shrink, so that with a tip tap I can recreate that octave, pitch it down 1 octave, same speed loop effect I'm using normally with the MC3, or I do via MIDI. So I can still do that with a bit of a workaround. And you see also the idea is to have effect 2. I have most of my manipulative effect stuff. Of course you see stretch, shrink, reverse, slow scramble and the replace. So these actually are like my main, let's say the main effect kind of. because on Effect 1 for me it's very important to have the select track, so that the idea is that I can, with the switch with the Effect 1, I can select, oops, excuse me, because now we have less support. So the idea behind is to be able to mainly have on Effect 1 the select track, so that I can switch back and forth between loop 1 and 2, and then with the Effect 2 I can apply the effect to that loop. Yeah. But of course I programmed that to have other function on Effect 1, so that in case I need, for example, I see I have the switch track in case I would like to have the loop chained together in an A-B situation, the double. So that, for example, I can select that loop, go into the config, double the loop, go back, we go back to select track, etc, etc. So this for me, Effect 1 for me are more secondary function than the effects I programmed to Effect 2, just to have a bit of logic and a system which I can use easily live. Okay, so let's delete everything. Thank you for tuning in, and wish you happy whatever, and see you possibly next year. Ciao!